this is the Provoked Prawn, and here I'm comparing the Astro A30 wireless with the Astro A50 Gen 4. I want to talk to you about my experiences with both these headsets and what I like and don't like about them, but more importantly the differences between the A30 and the A50 that perhaps make it the more logical option in some ways and not in others. Now, the Astro A50 was my favourite headset for quite some time for a number of different reasons, and I've done a video separately on that and a year later to talk about my experiences with it after a year of use, and you can see a fairly tatty one there because it's been heavily used. But here I want to show off and talk about the Astro A30 wireless as well, and show you obviously that it's very striking in its appearance. Now, I've reviewed both these headsets. I'll link to those videos in the description. And in those videos, I've gone into a more depth talking about the software and the settings and other things. But here I want to talk to you about the various different highlights of them. Obviously, the Astro A30 is very striking, but it also has a number of other features that make it more appealing than the Astro A50 in various ways, but some that don't. The Astro A50 is fairly understated in its design, but it also offers up some interesting highlights, including a game voice balance dial controls on the ear cup, obviously a charging base station that I'll get to in a minute. It has Dolby surround sound options, various different EQ settings via the profile button on the headset. It has a really convenient setup and very, very comfortable ear cushions, and that's one of the points of interest in the comparison as well. The Astro A30 wireless is the newer headset, and it's the first in the range that's actually backed up by Logitech, so it comes after Logitech purchased Astro, and so it now has that combination of talents from both companies to create a headset that's really interesting. You'll see in the box it comes with a dongle for both PC and Xbox or PlayStation, depending on which variant you buy, as well as various different other cables, including 3.5mm and USB-C. The Astro A50 wireless comes in two different variants as well. This is the Xbox version that works with PC. That comes with an optical cable and a base station with a micro USB charging cable. You can charge the headset directly, or you can charge it by plugging it into the base station, connecting it up there. That is one of the things that I think is really appealing about this headset, is the convenience of that charging base station, because it means that you can dock the headset and you never have to plug it in theory. And even if you do, you can plug it in and carry on using it if you use a micro USB cable plugged directly into the headset. So that gives you various different options, but there's something to be said about the convenience of having that base station. The base station also acts as the transmitter base for the 2.4 GHz wireless, so that gives you the connectivity and essentially allows a strong connection, which is really good, to be honest. You can go several rooms away. You also have various different inputs, so you can see there's optical in and out, and a micro USB cable, and it also has a switch to switch between PC and Xbox mode depending on what you're using it for, so convenience there. Obviously there's also a PlayStation version. I really like the setup of this because it also has that 3.5mm connection, which means it's one of very few headsets that you can actually plug a 3.5mm cable into the base station or the dongle and then connect it up and have a mic monitoring, for example, or another source, whether that's your phone or something else, connected up to the base station and then transmitting that signal into the headset. So that means you can monitor an external microphone and do other interesting things too. I really like the Astro A50 Gen 4 for a number of different reasons, including the comfort. So it's really comfortable to wear. However, as you'll see from some of these shots, I feel like the Astro A30 is superior in its build quality and design. The Astro A50 Gen 4 is unfortunately a little bit flimsy in some areas, and the headband causes problems with some people. I didn't have that issue, but it does cause problems, and some of it gets a little bit tatty, as you'll see over time with the later shots later on in this video. But one of the things that I really do like about it is those ear cushions. You can see they're removable. They also have this very soft velvety material to them that's really soft on the head. Every time I put it on, I just remember how amazing it is in terms of the comfort. It's one of the most comfortable headsets I've tried, and I've tried a lot of different headsets, and it still maintains that. I do wish the ear cups were deeper, but as you'll see in a minute, they're sort of the same as the Astro A30. There's not much change there, but they are different in their materials. You'll also notice various different controls on the headset, and that allows some convenience in how you control it, and it's a bit easier, I think, actually, than the Astro A30, and I'll get to that in a little while. But you do have a flip to mute microphone that's unfortunately not removable. With the Astro A30 wireless, you do have a microphone that's removable, which is interesting because it's a boom microphone. The quality, I'll leave a sound test of later on and a comparison between the two. But one of the things that I found is that it's a bit compressed and it's not amazing. But what is interesting is the headset comes with not only the boom mic, but also built-in internal microphones. So when you're not using that, you can use the built-in microphones, which becomes interesting because the headset also supports Bluetooth, which is something the Astro A50 does not. So it's Bluetooth connectivity, which means you can connect it up to your phone or other devices, and dual connectivity, so you can connect up both 2.4 gigahertz via the dongle and Bluetooth at the same time, and then have really good audio that way. You'll also see that the headband is a little bit more solid, I think. In my personal experience anyway, using the headset, I found it feels a bit more durable in the hand, looks a bit nicer, has a bit of a squashier top to it, and other things. Also aesthetics-wise, as you can see, is really nice. It's got these removable speaker tags on the outside. You can actually purchase additional extra ones, change out the look and feel of it. On the underside of it, you've got that really nice, colourful finish on there as well, which is sort of hidden away by the speaker tags, but it adds to the style of the thing as well. You'll see it has some controls on the side. You've got a power button for both the standard power and a connection button for Bluetooth. Again, it has removable ear cushions. However, what you'll see is they are very different. So these are faux leather cushions with memory foam padding on them, but they do block out a lot more noise. This has a 2.4 gigahertz USB-A dongle that plugs into the PC, but also has a button to switch between that and Xbox if you're using it on there instead. And there's also PlayStation variants, and you can get a USB-C dongle instead as an additional purchase. It comes with a USB-C charging cable, so you do need to plug it in, which means it doesn't have the convenience of the A50 in terms of being able to dock it in a base station, which is unfortunate. However, the battery life on both headsets is pretty decent in my experience. I'll leave all the specs and that in the description, but I found out I wasn't charging either of them very often, but the A50 is obviously more convenient. However, the Astro A30 does also have 3.5mm connection, so again, you can mic monitor if you want to, or plug in another source and use it that way, or obviously connect it up to a console controller. My experience is all on PC, I must note that. I haven't used it on console, so I can't comment on how either of these headsets perform on console. But my experience on PC has been a really good one. They both deliver really good sound. And you'll see that the Astro A30 wireless also allows for Bluetooth connectivity, so you can connect up to your phone and listen to music. But you can also do that while playing games on your PC. And you can also obviously take the microphone off, connect up via Bluetooth, and because you have built-in microphones, you can use these outside the house as headphones to listen to music while you're out and about, but then also make calls with them so you can talk to people while you're out as well. So you have a real convenient setup there in a variety of different ways. And it also adds to the controls of it, because you can see that there's a little joystick on there which not only adjusts the volume but also allows you to do things like media controls. So you can see that you can press the buttons and you can skip through tracks and things like that. You can't do anything like that with the Astro A50. There's no controls like that as intelligent and useful. However, I will say that I did find the controls to be very fiddly on the Astro A30 by comparison. There's more dedicated buttons on the Astro A50, and it's a bit simpler, bit more old-fashioned, but works better in my opinion. It's more user-friendly, so you've got a volume wheel and things like that. Now I want to show you some of what is interesting about these two in terms of putting them side by side for a comparison. You can see what I was saying about the ear cup design, for example. Obviously on the Astro A50, it's a very soft material versus the sort of leather, faux leather finish on the Astro A30. Size-wise though, they're about the same. They're about the same size, about the same depth. Not much difference there. They also maintain that magnetic seal to the ear cup themselves, so they're easy to take off and replace if you need to, or clean, and that's pretty interesting. However, there's a real difference in the sound quality because of it, because the Astro A30 is very comfortable, but it does let in a bit more sound, whereas the Astro A30 offers up that passive noise cancellation because of the faux leather, which means you're blocking out a bit more of the surrounding noise, and you can focus on your game more. So it really depends on what you want, whether you're after a comfortable sort of soft experience, but with some open back element to it where you can hear a bit more of the world around you, or a full-on sort of passive cancelled noise experience where you're blocking out a lot of surrounding noise. Again, with a comparison side by side, you can see just sort of the design of the headband is a little bit more flimsy on the A50, which is a shame. Hopefully they'll upgrade that in the next variant. And the A30 looks a bit nicer and looks a bit more durable, hopefully over time. Obviously, this isn't a completely fair comparison because the A30 wireless has only just arrived. The A50 I've had for a year or so, and it's looking a bit tatty and worn, but that's another point of interest to compare the two, is that over time your A50 might start to get a little bit marred by comparison, and the A30 is certainly stylish. However, we'll have to see how that holds up in a year or so to be able to talk about the differences between them. But obviously you also have the option to customize the look and feel a bit more, so you can change the style of it, which isn't something you can do with the A50. It doesn't have removable speaker tags. It doesn't have any other design there. There is a mod kit that you can buy where you can add in faux leather ear cushions, and I have done a video separately on that, and a different headband, which is the padded bit on top, so you can change the style. But controls wise, as I said, I find the A50 is easier, much easier to use. Now with the Astro A30 wireless, you have control via a smartphone app, and you can control various different settings in here, including sound profiles for game and media. You also have the ability to switch into like a footsteps mode, so you can listen to sounds in game and hear footsteps. What I thought was interesting here is you also have the ability to control the microphones, so you can apply noise gate settings to both the boom mic and the built-in microphones, and you can also adjust the side tones so you can hear yourself more or less depending on what you like in the ear cups, which is obviously important if you've got passive noise cancellation from the ear cushions as well. What was interesting here as well is that the Astro A30 wireless doesn't have any controls via Astro's command center or via Logitech G Hub at the time that I reviewed this headset, which means that it's only controllable via the phone, which is a bit weird. It doesn't seem to have as many EQ profiles. But what you can do is you can choose between immersive mode and footsteps mode. You can also create your own presets, so you can adjust the EQ settings on the fly and change it here. Obviously, this is all done via the app, and you can see how straightforward that is and easy to do. And I do find the sound of them to both be pretty interesting, both delivering good positional audio and a rich audio experience as well. They are actually very nice to listen to, both for music and movies and gaming and all those good things. And I found that the game audio is really good as well for both of them. I can't fault either of them. Some people say the Astro A50 isn't great. I've found that the various different profiles in Astro's command center add in some nice audio that you can switch between. Also, you have Dolby as standard, and you can use Dolby Atmos as well. You probably have the choice to use Dolby Atmos with the A30 as a separate purchase, depending on what platform you're using it on, which is another thing to bear in mind. So there's a lot of different options in terms of sound options, but I think the A50 is a little bit easier because you can do that all on a desktop, and there's a bit more flexibility there. Also at hardware level, you just have that button that you can see, the EQ button on the ear cup, where you can basically press that and switch between the modes, and you can turn Dolby on and off. And the volume wheel just makes life a little bit easier in adjusting the volume. So there's the little things between these two that make them a little bit different and a little bit more appealing or less appealing, depending on your preference. Now, obviously, the controls on the A50 are better for me. Personally, I found it easier to use, and I really like the experience from docking the headset. That's a lot easier, plugging it in, putting it down on the base station, charging it up when not in use, and not having to think about battery life very much. However, longevity-wise, obviously, both of them have internal batteries that aren't removable, so over time, that's going to become a problem. The A30 has the advantage because then you can still plug in the 3.5mm connection, and obviously also has USB-C charging, which is fairly simple to do and straightforward. It's also multi-platform. And the other thing the A50 doesn't have is Bluetooth, so there's no Bluetooth connectivity on the A50 at all. You can buy an additional dongle, as people keep telling me, to connect up Bluetooth to the base station and do it that way, but that's an additional purchase that isn't even from Astro, so I can't really say that's a fair comparison. But that is an option, but it's a shame that you can't do it. However, you do also have the ability to do the 3.5mm mic monitoring without actually having to connect a wire to the headset, which unfortunately you don't have with the A30. So you can see very different headsets, also quite similar in sound and in other areas. And now stick with me for a mic test. And here I am with the Astro A30 wireless, and you can see we're in wireless mode and also with the boom microphone. And just point of note, it has both dual microphone and built-in microphone, and both of them have side tone, and you can control those within the app as well. It is quite compressed, as you can hear, and it does also pick up wind from the mouth if you're not careful, so you need to sort of get it into the right position where it won't do that. Play around with the settings in the software and tweak the mic sound so it sounds good. This is obviously what it's like on PC. I can't speak to the experience on console, but it's not fantastic. However, it does offer up the option to take this off and then use the built-in microphones to place calls or something if you're out and about. So you connect it via Bluetooth on your phone. You can make calls with either microphone. You also have the option to use either microphone
whether you're playing on console or PC, so you don't have to use the boom mic, although obviously you get the better experience out of that because it's close to your mouth and it's theoretically better quality. If you want to hear both microphones, be sure to check out the review because I've done sound tests of both of them so you can hear exactly what the quality of that's like. But you can see the difference of how this sits on the head and what it looks like. It's really stylish. I think the white one looks really nice. It also has a really sort of nice comfortable fit on top and nice clamping force all round. And here I am with the Astro A50 wireless. This is obviously the headset microphone now, so you can hear what the quality is like. It's obviously a bit more compressed than my usual microphone, and you will probably hear some of the p sounds, obviously depending on where you put it, and obviously getting it close to your mouth results in more of that. But as you'll see, it's not a bad quality, and one thing I'm going to do now is I'm also going to type on the keyboard nearby so you can see. I also have my PC just to the right hand side of me, and the fans are going quite loudly right now, so you would certainly notice that if the microphone wasn't good enough to do it. You can adjust side tone levels and noise cancellation and such within Astro Command Center, but these are basically the default settings, and the quality is good enough. I think it is very good in terms of the quality of the capture, and not a bad mic. You can obviously then just flip it up out of the way. There's a slight click at the top for push to mute, so it mutes nicely and is out of the way, and you're no longer capturing, and so it's not a problem. As you can see, it's also quite bendable, and you can move it into positions where it still works, but it's not going to be causing you issues if you're trying to have a drink or eating.
This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting, hilarious, or otherwise. Take a look at these other videos that I think you might find interesting as well. And have a look at the description for links and other information you might find useful. Click that join button to see the benefits of being a member of my YouTube channel. And most importantly, have a great life.